Thank you so much for joining us. I am Simon and I'll be taking you through the Porter's 5 Force Model. Now, this is an external tool that has been used by organizations to determine the factors that affects an organization's attractiveness, its profitability, and competition in the industry. Now, at the end of this discussion, you can be able to employ the best strategies to achieve an organization's profitability, attractiveness, and to achieve the best competition in the market. Let us appreciate more of this model in detail. Now, the Porter's 5 Forces model, it has got 5 forces. However, 4 of these forces are external to the industry. We have the threats from new entrants, we have the buyer's bargaining power, we have the threats from substitutes, and the supplier bargaining power. Now, these are outside the industry. However, within the industry, we have the competitive rivalry within the industry. Now, let us see how these forces will dictate on the factors that make an organization profitable or not profitable. Let us start from the threats from the new entrants. Now, we all appreciate, ladies and gentlemen, that when an industry is making profits, we'll have new players coming on board, and all of them would want to tap onto the profits in the industry. Now, once we have many players coming into the industry, now we are going to see more supplies, more organizations supplying products in that industry. And what will happen? The demand has remained the same. However, the supplies have risen, meaning that the prices of these products will have to reduce, will have to go down. So the threats of new entrants will affect the players within the industry to reduce the prices. Now, this squeezes their profits. Hence, the threats from new entrants is a force that they need to encounter. And how have organizations within the industry been able to counter these threats? Now, some of these encounters depend on the type of industries. However, in large industries, the barriers have been the economies of scale. Now, there are some industries where the economies of scale are very high and therefore makes it difficult for new entrants to enter. Within these industries, they have had an opportunity to have the learning curve. They have been able to learn how prices fluctuate, how the products are sold, and this is going to be new to the new entrants. The other barrier is the high capital investment that is required to enter the industry. The high capital, high technology that is required. Some of these can act as barriers of the new entrants. Product differentiation within the industry. This makes it difficult for new entrants to just join in because some customers, some clients have already attached themselves with the products in the industry. That's the first force. Let us go to the second force, the threats from substitutes. Now, substitutes are products that act in the same place of the other. For example, I'll give you postal services can be replaced by courier services, emails, fax machines. Now, when there are presence of substitutes, this greatly affects the industry. Why? Because when there are substitutes, we see that buyers can be able to switch to other suppliers. Now, the switching makes it difficult for the players within the industry to charge high prices for their products. One, because their products can easily be substituted. So, presence of substitutes reduces the profits of the players within the industry, and hence it becomes a threat. So companies within the industry have to always keep updating their products to see that they are always the best and no substitute for it is available in the market. We'll also look at the supplier bargaining power. Now we all know that within the industry, those companies within the industry also get supplies from suppliers. Now if a supplier is big and therefore supplies the majority of its items to these industries, it can have a higher bargaining power. One, because the items the supplier supplies are of very much importance to the industry or to the organizations within the industry. Therefore, supplier bargaining power becomes high. Suppliers are able to heighten their prices, and this squeezes the profits of the organizations within the industry. Supplier bargaining power can also be high when the number of suppliers supplying that product are actually limited. Therefore, the organizations within that industry have no choice but to use the limited suppliers in the market. We had not talked about the buyer's bargaining power. What makes the buyer's bargaining power high? Number one, buyer's bargaining power can become high when the buyers are few. The buyers of the products of that industry are actually few. The buyer's bargaining power can be high when there is availability of substitutes. So the buyer can be able to reduce prices down, negotiate for better terms and conditions. Now, these are forces that are external to the industry. But what about in the industry? There is also a force, the competitive rivalry within the industry. Now, in this industry, we have many companies, and all these companies are also fighting for profits in the limited market that they are sharing. Now, what happens? Because the number of organizations producing that product have increased, there is competition within themselves. Competitions in form of collusion, in form of price wars, competition in form of innovation in order to tap into the profits and the market. Why? Because now there are many in the industry. The market has not grown, but the suppliers and the players have increased. So this can be a competition. However, this competition is far better than actually opting out of the industry. Opting out of the industry is actually even more expensive because, one, it is very costly to opt out of the industry. Therefore, companies within the industry have no choice but to compete amongst themselves in order to survive. Now, this is how we see the Porter's 5 force model affect decision making of how the organization can improve on its profitability, attractiveness, and competition. Thank you so much for joining us for this discussion. Please join us again for more of this discussion. I am Simon. Please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel.